right, so we've got our HP Tuners VCM Editor open here. The HP Tuners interface is plugged into the car as well as into the computer. We're getting ready to read the file from the vehicle. Now, if you open your VCM Editor and all of these are not gray, it means that you have a tune file currently open. Now, before we can read the vehicle, we have to close any existing tune files, which can be done using File, Close, or you can press the little folder with the arrow icon here to close that. But you will not be able to read a vehicle with a tune file open. So once any existing tune files are closed, you simply go to Flash, Read Vehicle, and I always like to start with Gather Info because that will start the communication to the vehicle, seeing if there's any issues there, what modules we can read, things of that nature. So in this case, we're reading a 2008 Chevrolet Express van with a 6-liter motor. We're going to be reading the ECM, the engine control module, and the TCM, the transmission control module. Now, in some vehicles, there may be additional modules to read. You're welcome to do so. If the tuner doesn't need that information, he can just delete those modules on his end when he sends you the tune file. Now, with everything ready to go here, all the vehicle accessories turned off so that we're not draining any battery, we're going to start the read process. Now, during this time, you don't want to interrupt the read process. Just step back, let the vehicle do its thing, let the HP Tuner software do its thing. You may see a bunch of lights and warnings come on in the vehicle. That's totally normal. Those will go away once we finish the read process. In the meantime, just leave the computer as is. It'll read each module. It may ask you to do some ignition cycles of some sort between modules or at the start of each module, depending on what vehicle you're reading. Just follow the pop-up instructions and continue the read process. Okay, we can see that the ECM has finished reading with this completed sign here. It'll usually pause between modules just to let the bus settle down, the communications reset, things of that nature, and then it'll start the read on the next module, which in this case is the transmission control module. All right, as you can see, we are done reading the selected modules. When it is finished reading, it'll pop up with a Save As box here. Make sure you save it as something that makes sense. Save it somewhere you can find it again. A lot of people like My Documents. Some people like right on the desktop, just wherever works. But in this case, for this example, I'll just use the desktop. I like to create a folder for the vehicle for all the tune files to live in. So in this case, we'll call it We'll call that folder 2008 Chevy Express 6-liter. And I always like to save the last bit of the VIN just for my own reference. And inside there, we'll just call this the stock file. Use a name that makes sense to you, or whatever name the file was provided by the tuner to you. Just something that you can go back and reference what file this is, because in some vehicles you may have 10, 15 revisions, and you want to be able to revert as necessary if the tuner says, hey, go back to revision 5 and test things. But in this case, we know it's a stock file. We know for a fact it's a stock file. If it wasn't a stock file, I might call it maybe stock, or I might call it just the initial read. By my own practice, I don't like to call it stock file unless I know for a fact it's stock. All right, and once that's saved, the tune file is open here, and we're ready to send it off to the tuner or do your own tuning if that's what's going on.